Feeling frustrated with that project you're trying to take on? Thinking about throwing in the towel? Or maybe you're feeling too scared to even get started. If any of those sound familiar to you, Carol Dweck's growth mindset might be able to help. But before we go there, I'm going to share a short story to help set the stage for what we're talking about. So back in 2016, I decided to go back to university. And I remember sitting in one of my first classes, I think it was English 101 or something like that. And I was sitting there at my desk reading, and I just felt this deep sinking feeling going into my gut. As I stared at the page in front of me and, read line after line, I started thinking, oh my goodness, what am I doing? None of this makes any sense at all to me. Am I missing something? Am I stupid? Maybe I'm not cut out for this whole university thing. Maybe I'm not smart enough, actually. Should I go back to cutting grass? I did okay at that. And as I was thinking these thoughts, I remember when in addition to that sinking feeling in my gut, my cheeks went hot and my face went all flush. I started feeling embarrassed. And at that moment, my friend who was sitting in the desk next to me, he leans over and whispers, "Psst." I kind of look over at him and go, "What?" I'm sort of annoyed because I'm trying to figure this thing out. And he asks, "Does any of this make any sense to you?" And I told him no, and he said, "It doesn't make sense to me either." And I just felt all this relief as I realized, oh, it's okay. It's okay that I don't understand this right now. And when I made a little bit of space for myself to say it's okay, I don't understand this, I asked myself a really important question, which was, what can I do to understand this better? I started thinking on it and I said, okay, well, I could reread the passage. Yeah, that's something I could do. That would probably help. I could ask my friend. I mean, he's like me, a bit clueless, but maybe together we could figure it out. I could ask my professor. I mean, if anyone's going to understand this material, it should be her. And I ended up doing all three of those things. I reread the passage, I talked with my friend, we struggled together. I asked my prof for her perspective. And after doing all those things, it started to make a lot more sense. And I took that learning into my other courses too. So, I was, whether it was looking at a complicated chemistry term or a complex, confusing philosophy passage, I approached it with that same perspective of, you know what, it's okay. It's okay. I don't understand this right now. And what can I do to try and understand this better? And as I kept doing that over and over again, I started to do really well in my courses. And all of a sudden, I was getting really good grades. And, friends were telling me, wow, uh, how did you do so good on that test? Or, um, wow, you seem to understand all this super well. Like, you're a really smart guy. And even profs were giving me praise too, which is crazy. I mean, how did I go from seriously thinking about dropping out of university to all of a sudden getting praised for my quote unquote intelligence? I think the answer to that is a lot of hard work and also a growth mindset. So, what is a growth mindset? So, a growth mindset says that our intelligence and our abilities are things that we can change. So, if we continually face new challenges, learn from feedback, and try again, we can become smarter versions of ourselves. It essentially likens intelligence to a tree. So if we give a tree water, sun, and nutrients, it can grow strong and tall. Similarly, if we face new challenges, learn from feedback, and try again, we can become smarter versions of ourselves. And this could be contrasted against a fixed mindset, which says that our intelligence and our abilities are actually things we can't change. It more likens intelligence to a rock. We can give it all the water, nutrients, and sun we want, but that rock is not growing or changing in any way. So how does this apply to the story I just shared? Well, when I first started reading the essay that I was struggling to understand, I slipped into a fixed mindset. I basically was saying to myself, because I can't understand this right now, it means I'm not smart enough for university, which implies that there's nothing I can do to make myself smarter. And imagine if I'd stayed stuck in that fixed mindset. I probably wouldn't have reread the passage. I mean, what's the point? I'm not smart enough to understand it now. I probably won't be smart enough if I try and read it a second time. And I definitely would not have asked a friend or a professor for help. I mean, why would I want to reveal to them how stupid I am? And so I would have been left feeling pretty awful. I probably would have honestly gone to my phone or daydreamed to distract myself from that awful feeling. And then when test time rolled around, I probably would have got a bad grade because I hadn't learned anything. And when I got that bad grade, I probably would have said something like, yeah, I really am not smart enough for university. And there's a good chance I would have at that point dropped out, which would have been really sad because that would mean that I wouldn't get to live the rich and meaningful life and career that I have today. So thank goodness I was able to shift into a growth mindset with the help of my friend. I was able to say, it's okay, I don't get it right now. I can learn to understand a complicated essay. In other words, intelligence is something that can be improved upon. And that mindset allowed me to ask the next crucial question, which is, how can I get better at this? And when we figure that out, then we're off to the races. And I don't want to pretend that I'm always perfectly in a growth mindset. I'm definitely human and slip up from time to time and go into a fixed mindset. But my hope is that in sharing this story, it helps you recognize when you might be going into a fixed mindset. And hopefully, if you can catch yourself doing that, you can take the steps to get into a growth mindset and ultimately do all the things that we all know you're capable of doing. So if you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments below or give me a like, because I really want to know what is resonating or what isn't resonating. And if you made it this far, thanks so much for watching and have a great day. Okay, bye.